Lieutenant Colonel Richard F. Bailey grew up in Pennington, New Jersey, and graduated from Hopewell Valley Central High School in 1988. While at Hopewell, Rich spent many hours writing as a volunteer emergency medical technician with the Pennington First Aid Squad. After Hopewell, Rich attended Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in Daytona Beach, Florida, where he graduated in 1993, receiving a Bachelor of Science in Engineering Physics with a minor in mathematics. Rich was commissioned a second lieutenant in the United States Air Force 23rd of June 1995 after completing officer training at Maxwell Air Force Base, Alabama. He then attended undergraduate navigator training at Randolph Air Force Base in Pensacola Naval Air Station, where he earned his navigator wings in November 1996. He attended F-15E replacement unit training at Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, North Carolina, as part of his initial qualification in the F-15E aircraft. His first assignment was as an F-15E weapons system officer at the 492nd Fire Squadron, Royal Air Force, Lakenheath in the United Kingdom. While at Lakenheath, Rich was a squadron scheduler, assistant chief of mission planning, and squadron electric warfare officer. Additionally, Rich was a function check flight weapons system officer, and he was selected as the 492nd Fighter Squadron Weapons System Officer of the Year for 2000. Finally, while assigned to Lakenheath, Rich flew contingency and combat sorties over Kosovo, Serbia, and Bosnia in support of Operation Allied Force. Rich was then selected for and attended the United States Air Force Test Pilot School at Edwards Air Force Base, California. He graduated as an experimental test navigator in December 2001. After test pilot school, Rich was assigned to the 40th Flight Test Squadron at Eglin Air Force Base. While assigned to the 40th, Rich was the project aircrew for over 25 different test programs flown on the F-15 series aircraft. Additionally, he was the F-15 flight commander and was the 46th Operations Group Company Grade Officer of the Year for 2003 and 2004. Finally, it was while he was stationed at Eglin that he met the love of his life, Dr. Polly Dole. After his developmental test tour, Rich was assigned to the Secretary of the Air Force Acquisition Special Programs Office, where he was a program element monitor until selected for intermediate developmental education. While assigned to the Pentagon, Rich completed a Master of Science in Aerospace Engineering from the University of Alabama and intermediate developmental education by correspondence.
While stationed at the Pentagon, Rich and Polly were married in 2005. In 2007, their daughter Emma was born. 4 months later, Rich was deployed to Iraq to support the U.S. Army's 1st Brigade Combat Team. Rich, Polly, and Emma then packed up and left D.C. so Rich could attend the United States Army's Command and General Staff College at Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. After Command and General Staff College, the Baileys moved to Edwards Air Force Base in the Mojave Desert, where Rich returned to the Air Force Test Pilot School, where he was an instructor and the division chief for the school's Technical Support Division, followed by being the Director of Operations. As the Director of Operations, Rich led the Air Force Flight Test Center's largest flying operation while ensuring that 48 test pilots, test navigators, and flight test engineers graduated on time. While at Edwards, Rich and Polly's second daughter, Julia, was born in 2010. After enjoying the balmy heat of California, Rich, Polly, Emma, and Julia arrived at Eglin, where they are still stationed today. At Eglin, Rich has served as the commander of the 46th 96th Operations Support Squadron since June of 2011. With the merging of the 96th Air Base Wing and the 46th Test Wing, Rich had the honor of being the last commander of the 46th Operations Support Squadron and the first commander of the 96th Operations Support Squadron. Rich is currently the 96th Operations Group Deputy Commander, responsible for the test activity of 11 different Air Force squadrons and detachments. He also continues to actively fly and perform F-15E test missions. Lieutenant Colonel Bailey is a command navigator with over 1,300 hours of experience in various United States Air Force, United States Navy, and foreign aircraft. He has flown contingency and combat sorties over Kosovo, Serbia, and Bosnia. He was also deployed as the Brigade Electronic Warfare Officer with the 1st Brigade Combat Team in Al-Anbar Province, Iraq. Congratulations, Lieutenant Colonel Richard F. Bailey, on your induction into the Hopewell Valley Central High School Distinguished Graduates Hall of Fame.
Good morning, Hopewell. Wow. 26 years since I walked through the hallways here. Has this place changed a little bit? When I was here back in 1988, the auditorium was across the hallway. There was no such thing as a high school football team. This high school has really come a long way. With that, main things that I would like to address today is first, Principal Dare, staff, students. It is a tremendous honor to be back here to accept this award as being a distinguished graduate. One thing I want to make sure all of you realize is when I walked through the hallways here, I was nothing special. I was an average student. Mr. Brennan can sort of attest to that. I was a B+ student, wasn't on National Honor Society, didn't do bad in my grades, but I didn't do awesome either. Didn't get into the first colleges of my choice. But one main point I want to leave with you is I dared to dream, and I dreamed big, because I knew one day that I wanted to not only be an Air Force officer, but I wanted to fly airplanes, and I wanted to be a graduate of the U.S. Air Force Test Pilot School. Well, guess what? In 26 years, at the age of 44, I have been able to accomplish all that because I dreamed about it, and I always followed that dream. Trust me, you're going to have hiccups, problems, and issues along the way that sometimes might seem a little bit insurmountable. But guess what? With good dreaming and a lot of hard work, you can easily overcome that. Two other life lessons I'd really like to just to let you know about is never turn down education. One thing you probably heard from my bio there is that I've done tons of different education along the way. And the one thing I've always found out, it has always opened doors for me to take a next step and to further areas of my life. So one thing that I implore you guys to do as you go out and graduate from here is to continue to seek out those opportunities and work on your education. And the last thing I'd like to leave you with is sort of a very big life lesson, especially being in the military, in that take time and live in the moment. When I graduated here, there was 215 in my graduating class. From what I understand, there's about 330 right now in the graduating class. I can guarantee you one thing, is unfortunately in 26 years, not all of you will be here to celebrate that time. Along the way, I've lost friends, colleagues, family, illnesses, combat tours, accidents, other things along the way. So make sure you take the time to savor life and live in that moment. With that, I'd like to end this up with one parting thought here. I tried to figure out who was attributable to, but it's one thing that I've always lived my life with, is a simple motto, is live well, laugh often, love always. Thanks again, Hopewell. I really appreciate it.